So, welcome to Exodus 19, a nation married to Yah, with your host, Richard Massey. I pray that you guys are having a blessed Sabbath. And I pray also that whatever you and your family are going through, that Yah gives you the strength to go through it. This is going to be a pretty long one. So, I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to talk much. Let's just go straight into it. So, I wanted to talk about prayer. I wanted to talk about the devil and whether he actually does what we say he does, and why do we rebuke the enemy, and why do we never consider changing our prayer? Have we ever considered changing our prayer, um, and looking at ourselves instead of looking at the devil? Are these things that's happening to us because Yah told us that they were going to happen? Does Yah do things to us through our families, to ourselves, because of something that our ancestors did, or our family members did, or our fathers did? Or are these things just coincidences? So let's just read today and see. So let's go to 2 Samuel 11. 2 Samuel 11. It says, "And it came to be at the turn of the year, at the time of sovereigns to go out to battle, that David and Jacob, Joab, and his servants with him, and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Rabbah. But David remained at Jerusalem. And it came to be at evening time that David rose up from his bed and walked about on the roof of the sovereign's house. And from the roof he saw a woman bathing, and the woman was very good to look at." 3. "And David sent and asked about the woman. And one said, 'Is this not Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite?' So David is inquiring about this female. Yo, who's that down there bathing?" And one of his guys says, "Yo, you know who that is? That's Bathsheba. That's Uriah the Hittite's wife. Come on, you know that. I have to tell you that." 4. "And David sent messengers anyway to her to fetch her. And she came to him, and he lay with her, for she was cleansing herself from her uncleanness. And she returned to her house." 5. "And the woman conceived and sent and informed David and said, 'I am pregnant.' 6. "And David sent Joab, 'Send Uriah the Hittite to me.' And Joab sent Uriah to David." 7. "And Uriah came to him, and David asked how Joab was doing. How's he doing out in the battle?" Just fake, phony conversation with the man, right? How's he doing? And how are the people doing? And how the fight's going, right? Information that he can get from his men. But yeah, he pulls this man out of the war, and he's asking him and having this fake conversation with him because he slept with his wife, and now his wife is about to have a child. "And Uriah came to him, and David asked Joab how Joab was doing, and how the people were doing, and how the fight was going. And David said to Uriah, 'Go down to your house and wash your feet.' And Uriah went out from the sovereign's house, and a gift from the sovereign followed him." So go down there, take a break from the war, since you're home from the war for a little bit. Go down there and sleep with your wife, and maybe when the baby comes, everybody will think it's yours, except, they'll think it's yours because you did have sex with her when you came home. 9. "But Uriah lay down at the door of the sovereign's house with all the servants of his master, and did not go to his house." 10. "And they informed David, saying, 'Uriah did not go down to his house.' So David said to Uriah, 'Did you not come from a journey? Why did you not go down to your house?'" Like, David's now going to play with the man's conscience. Like, "Oh man, you're home from the war. You need to kick your feet up. You need to go down to your house. You need to, make love to your wife, and, just enjoy yourself a little bit." All crap, right? 11. And Uriah said to David, the ark and Israel and Yehudah are dwelling in booths. They're living in tents. And my master Joab and the servants of my master are encamped in open fields. And should I go to my house to eat and to drink and to lie with my wife as you live and as your being lives? Let me not do this. Like, my men are out there in a war. And you expect me to come here and kick my feet up and have a good time and spend time with my wife. Don't make me do this. Please, let me go back out to the war. 12. And David said to Uriah, remain here today also, and tomorrow I'll let you go. So Uriah remained in Jerusalem that day and the next. 13. And David called him, and he ate and drank before him, and he made him drunk. And at evening he went out to lie on his bed with the servants of his master. But again, he did not go down to his house. Now, does his wife know he's in town? I have no idea. The Bible really doesn't talk about that. The Bible just talks about the fact that he is not going home to be with his wife. 14. And it came to be in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. So I'm going to send this letter to Joab by you to kill you. David is a man after Yah's own heart. But David is doing some slimy stuff in this chapter for a woman, right? Because of something that he wanted. And this is what we do. We do some slimy stuff sometimes for stuff that we want. Even when we're going against the word of Yah, we do it because it makes us feel good. And we'll apologize or we'll cross that bridge when we get to it later, right? So he wrote a letter to Joab for him to kill Uriah, and he had Uriah deliver the message. And he didn't know it. 15, and he wrote in the letter saying, set Uriah in the front of the heaviest battle, and you shall turn away from him, and he shall be smitten and die. Because by law, you can't have a man's wife if he's still alive. So I'm telling this guy to come home from battle, and I'm trying to send him down to his wife so that maybe he can make love to his wife, and maybe when the baby comes, he'll think it's his. In my eyes, God don't see this. Yah don't see this. Elohim don't see this. I can cover my tracks because I messed up without saying I'm sorry. I can just bypass what the law has told me, because I am aware of it, and have this man killed. So now I can rightfully go and be with this woman and live happily ever after. "16. And it came to be, as Joab watched the city, that he appointed Uriah to the place where he knew there were brave men, I guess men of war, men that could fight, a place where he knew that Uriah would die. 17. And the men of the city came out and fought with Joab, and some of the people of the servants of David fell, and Uriah the Hittite also died. And Joab sent and reported to David all the events of the battle. 19. And commanded the messenger, saying, when you have finished reporting all the events of the battle to the sovereign or to the king, then it shall be, if the sovereign or the king's wrath raises, and he say to you, why did you go so near to the city when you fought? Then did you not know that they would shoot from the wall? So when David starts getting upset and asking us about our tactics out in the field, just let him know that Uriah is dead. That'll calm him down and make him happy. So go ahead and tell him these things. 21. Who smote Abimelech, the son of Jerubbesheth? Was it not a woman who threw an upper milestone on him from the wall, so that he died into bets? Why did you go near the wall? Then you shall say, your servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. So we did mess up. We did go close to the wall, and we knew better. But hey, Uriah is dead. The number one thing that you wanted happened. And the messenger, 22, and the messenger went and came and reported to David all with which Joab had sent him. 23. And the messenger said to David, the men have been mighty against us and came out to us in the field, but we drove them back as far as the entrance of the gate. And the archers shot from the wall at your servants, and some of the servants, sovereign servants, are dead. So some of your men are dead because of this. And your servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Okay. So then David says to the messenger, say to Joab, do not let this matter be evil in your eyes. Don't be so upset that other people died to cover up my mistake that I did to Uriah. Don't let this get to you. For the sword devours one as well as the other. Here we go with phony conversation again. He says, strengthen your attack against the city and overthrow it and encourage him. 26. And the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah, her husband, was dead, and she lamented for her husband. And when her mourning was over, David sent and brought her to the house. Because see, now I can have you because your husband's dead. And that's what the law says. So this whole thing is working around the law that Yah set up for us to follow. And my point is, with some of the things that Yah has given for us to follow, and with us working our ways around it like David's doing and making excuses, do you think that this is having an impact on our families and society, on our prayer life? Do you think that this is having an effect on your life with the negativity, with the hard to make ends meet, with the sickness, with no healing, can't find a job, live in a bad neighborhood, can't pay your bills? Do you think that this is a judgment on us, or do you just think that this is the way that the world is? That the devil is out here doing stuff and God is running behind him cleaning up after we pray. So the devil does stuff to us. Then we rebuke him and we call on the name of Yah. And Yah comes out with his cape on. And he chases the devil. And he tries to answer our prayers. But a lot of times he don't. Or is it a lot of times he don't want to? Because maybe he used the devil to do that to you anyway. And this is not to get you upset. This is just to have you think. Because the devil is not stronger than Yah. Yah is not oblivious to the fact that Satan is out here doing these things. So instead of rebuking the enemy, you need to ask Yah, hey, listen, what did I do? Is it something that my ancestors did? Is it something that my parents did? Somebody in my family, me? So I can clean this up. Your prayer life can be more humble instead of turning around rebuking the enemy and bypassing the fact that something that you did or that your nation did might be offensive to Yah. So I think when we ask Yah, when we fall on our knees and when we examine ourselves and we become more apologetic, sincerely, that this gives Yah a chance to change what his judgment was going to be on us. So when we pray, especially if you have somebody who's new in the walk praying and you're telling them that it's about your faith and they take you wholeheartedly and they're praying and they're fasting and nothing happens, that person can now say that Yah don't love them, Yah's not real. They become an atheist. They become a member of another religion. But when you teach them, hey, listen, this is the way Yah works. I mean, you have to lay before him and ask him, search your soul. What are you doing? Ask him, what is it that's doing this? Point this out to me so I can make it right. Don't that sound better? Because you don't see the enemy nowhere in 2 Samuel 11. But let's go to 2 Samuel 12, okay? Let's see if I can point out what we're talking about. Then Yahweh sent Nathan to David, and he came to him and he said to him, there were two men in one city, one rich and the other poor. This is like a little story, a little parable. The rich one had flocks and herds, very many, but the poor one had only one little ewe lamb, which he had brought and kept alive. And it grew up with him and his children together. It ate of his own food and drank from his own cup and lay in his bosom. And it was like a daughter to him. 4. And a traveler came to the rich man, who refused to take from his own flock, even though he had a lot of flock, and he had a lot of herds, and he had very many, in verse 2. But this man refused to take something from his own supply, from his own flock and from his own herd, to prepare one for the wayfaring man who had come to him. This is your visitor. But he took the poor man's lamb and prepared it for the man who had come to him. 6. And the wrath of David burned greatly against that man when Nathan was telling him about this story. And he said to Nathan, as Yahweh lives, that the man who has done this is the son of death. I am going to kill this evil man for what he's doing. 6. Also, he has to repay fourfold for the lamb. That's the law. I think that's the trespass law. So David knows the law because he did this deed and because he had no compassion. So when somebody else is doing wrong, you can see it. But when you're doing wrong, you can't, because you're the sovereign, because you're the king. 7. Then Nathan said to David, you are that man. Thus said Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, I anointed you sovereign or king over Israel, and I deliver you from the land of Saul, from the hand of Saul. 8. And I gave you your master's house and your master's wife into your bosom, and gave you the house of Israel and Yehudah. And if that were not enough, I also would have given you much more of your own stuff. But you took Uriah's one sheep. 9. You have despised the word of Yahweh. How did he do that? He disobeyed the covenant commandment, and he took that man's wife. To do evil in his eyes, Nathan told him. You have killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword. You set that man up, David, and his wife you took to be your wife, and you have killed him with the sword of the children of Ammon. And then you sent him out so that the enemy can kill him for no reason. Yeah, Yah said you despise his word. And now the sword does not turn aside from your house. The sword is not going to turn aside from your house, David. What you did brought a drug habit onto your family. It brought abusiveness onto your family. It brought drinking onto your family. Stealing and crime and murder. It's not going to turn aside from your house. He says, because you have despised me and have taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your wife. Yah is going to do this, not the devil. Yah said, I am not going to let this turn aside from your house. Yah said it, not the devil. In my notes, I have David will face hard times because he had Uriah killed. Yah will send judgment to David and his house, even though David was supposed to be killed. David was supposed to die according to the law. There's mercy. Because Yah had gave David a promise of giving him a kingdom forever through his family, he can't kill David, but he can touch his family. And nowhere in here does it say that the devil's doing it. Yah is doing it. In my notes I have, even though David was supposed to be killed, he was spared. Now look at verse 11, 2 Samuel 12:11. Thus said Yahweh, see, I am raising up evil against you. Who said that? Where's the devil at? From your own house, and shall take your wives before your eyes and give them to your neighbor. Did you read about Absalom and how he slept with David's concubines up on the roof when David was away? And how the other son slept with his daughter, his stepsister Tamar? Confusion and destruction all inside David's house. He's not going to let the sword turn her aside. What's happening in our family that we have been praying about, fasting about, interceding about, rebuking the enemy about. And it has not changed. I'm going to tell you something. I've been walking in the church 40 something years. And I've been doing this new walk almost 5 years. And a lot of times that I pray, I feel like I hit or miss. Or I felt like I hit or miss because I don't think a lot of my prayers have ever been answered, which could have affected my faith in Yah, which could have led me to believe that he didn't love me, or which could have led me to believe that he don't exist, and could have made me to where I was so rebellious that I'm out here doing everything that I want to do because he don't care and he won't see me anyway. But then I come across these verses that explain that Yah does stuff. He does stuff because you were supposed to be dead anyway. Because Yahshua HaMashiach died on the cross, you are now supposed to be turning the hearts of the children back to the Father. So really, they don't owe you anything because if you look at it, you don't even follow the covenant commandment. So let alone get your prayer answered. But then you're rebuking the enemy and you're not even taking accountability for yourself, for the things that you might have done, for the things that your parents might have done, or your great-great-grandmother or grandparents might have done, or that your nation might have done to him that put you in this situation. 13, 12, for you did it in secret, but I shall do this deed before all Israel and before the sun. When Absalom slept with his wife, the Bible says that he did it up on the roof, and that somehow everybody saw it. 13, and David said to Nathan, I have sinned against Yahweh. And Nathan said to David, also Yahweh has put away your sin, you shall not die. Remember God told you that he was going to show you mercy? Well, you're not going to die from this, but your family's going to suffer. 14, however, because by this deed you have greatly scored Yahweh, the child also who is born to you shall certainly die. And Nathan went to his house, and Yahweh smote the child that Uriah's wife had born to David, and he was sick. Trying to read fast. 16, and David saw Elohim for the child. We're praying, right? One of our children, one of our spouses is going through. Somebody that we love is going through. So we seek Elohim for that person. Because 16 said, and David sought Elohim for the child. And David fasted and went in and spent all night lying on the ground. So we're travailing, right? We're praying. We're speaking in tongues. We're rebuking the enemy. We're doing everything we can to get Yah to answer us in reference to this person, or maybe to ourselves. But nothing's happening. Because he already said in his word, according to David, that this was going to happen. Maybe he could change Yah's mind with what he's doing, but maybe he won't. Maybe we can change Yah's mind with what he's doing, and maybe we can't. 17, so the elders of the house stood up over him to raise him up from the earth, but he would not, nor did he eat food with them. And on the 7th day, it came to be that the child had died, and that the servants of David were afraid to inform him that the child was dead, for they said, look, while the child was alive, we spoke to him, and he would not listen to our voice. And how do we say to him that the child is dead? Then he shall do evil. 19, and David saw that the servants were whispering, and David perceived that the child was dead. Then David said to the servants, is the child dead? And they said, he is dead. David then rose up from the ground and washed and anointed himself. He fixed himself and got himself together and changed his garment. And he went to the house of Yahweh and bowed himself. I'm not mad. This is not personal. This is what you told me this will happen. Then came to his own house and asked, and they set food before him, so he ate. And his servant said to him, what is this that you have done? You fasted and wept because of the living child, but when the child died, you rose up and ate food. And David said, but now he is dead. There's no need for me to pray and to fast. He's dead. I'm not. Am I able to bring him back? Am I going to him? But he doesn't return to me. And David comforted Bathsheba, his wife, and went into her and lay with her. So she bore a son and called his name Solomon. And Yahweh loves him, right? So now let's go to Isaiah real quick, because this is just something small I want from Isaiah. Isaiah 14, 24, and 25. Isaiah 14, 24, and 25. And this is what gives me another sign that, well, just listen. 24. Yahweh of hosts has sworn, saying, and this was meant for the actual enemy. But I believe that we can apply this in reference to our judgment. Isaiah 14 and 24. Yahweh of hosts has sworn, saying, truly as I have planned, so shall it be, and as I have purposed, so shall it stand. To break Asher in my land and tread them down on my mountains, and his yoke shall be removed from them, and his burden removed from the shoulders. So 24 says, Yahweh of hosts has sworn. We always said that in the church. Yah said it, that settles it. Truly, as I have planned, so shall it be, and as I have purposed, so it stands. So what does he mean by that? Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 1. Deuteronomy 28 and 1. And I'm just going to read the first 20. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that Yahweh thy Elohim will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. That's a promise based on and rooted in the fact that you are going to do all his commandments, what he command you this day. He's going to set you high above the earth if you follow his commandments. Number 2, and all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim. Covenant commandment. 3, blessed shalt thou be in the city. Don't we say this one in church? And blessed shalt thou be in the field. The root is covenant commandment, but we just loosely say it. We don't read the first 2 chapters. We just start at verse 4. But when we don't read verse 1 and 2, which is the root for verse 3. 4, blessed shall be the fruit of your body, healing, family members, right? Connected to 1 and 2, but we just read 4 loosely. And the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of their sheep, connected to 1 and 2. 5, blessed shall be thy basket and thy store, connected to 1 and 2, but we read it individually. 6, blessed shall thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shall thou be when thou goest out, connected to 1 and 2, but we just read it individually. 7, and Yahweh shall cause thy enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way and flee before these 7 ways, connected to 1 and 2. 8, and Yahweh shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouse, your food and your supplies, and in all that thou settest thy hand to do. Everything you're doing is blessed. He shall bless thee in the land which Yahweh thy Elohim giveth thee, connected to number 1, connected to number 2. 9, and Yahweh shall establish thee a holy people unto himself, as he hath sworn to thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments or the covenant of Yahweh thy Elohim and walk in his ways, connected to number 1, connected to number 2, and reinforced to number 9. And all the people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of Yahweh, and they shall be afraid of thee, connected to number 1, connected to number 2, connected to number 9. All this is based on that. All this is rooted out of the covenant commandments. 11. And Yahweh shall make thee plenteous and good in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, and in the land which Yahweh sware unto thy fathers to give thee. 1, 2, 9. 12. Yahweh shall open unto thee the good treasure, the heaven, to give the rain to the land in his season, and to bless all the work of thy hand. And thou shalt lend to many nations, and thou shalt not borrow. Don't we say that? But it's connected to number 1. It's connected to number 2. It's connected to number 9. And Yahweh shall make thee the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath, if thou wilt hearken unto the commandments of Yahweh thy Elohim, which I command thee this day to observe to do them. Connected to number 1, connected to number 2, connected to number 9, connected to number 13. But yet we just take them individually and we claim them. And we hold them by faith, but we don't have a root to them. We cut them like flowers out of the ground, but we quoting these things, but they're all attached to 4 different verses so far. And even though it's 4, they're all saying the same thing. 15, but it shall come to pass, here we go, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim, to observe to do all his commandments or covenants and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Which walk of life do you think that we're living? From 1 to 14? Or 15 down to what, 66? Because we're not living by covenant commandment. So these prayers that you're praying for your family, and then you do an examination and you do a reflection of your lifestyle, and you realize that you are not living covenant commandment, but you're taking pieces out of a chapter that's speaking on covenant commandment, and you're trying to apply it to your family member or yourself, and you're rebuking the enemy, you're out of line. And you're stiff-necked and you're hard-headed. You are out of line because you're trying to make Yah out to be the bad guy, because you're going to take something from a piece of the Bible and use it because it sounds good for your life, and you're going to use it and try to put faith on it and try to blame it on the enemy, and you're not even taking accountability for the fact that you're not even living covenant commandment. So what you need to at least stop doing is stop quoting the above scriptures when you're trying to preach blessing over somebody. 16, cursed shalt thou be in the city, aren't we? And cursed shalt thou be in the field, aren't we? Can't even walk to your car no more. Somebody outside waiting on you to blow your brains out for your car. Can't even go downtown. Cursed shall be thy basket in thy store. How much food you got in your house? This time of the year, are we relying on somebody to give us food, a holiday box dinner? Struggling to make ends meet. Interest rates are high. City don't care nothing about you. Late charges out the wazoo. How's your storehouse doing? Church shall be the fruit of thy body. How's your kids? How's your body? How's the quality of food? How's the quality of water nowadays? How's the quality of our ground? What are they putting in our animals? And the fruit of thy land. How's the dirt? How's our air? How's the ozone layer? The increase of thy kind and the flocks of thy sheep. How's your money? Cursed shalt thou be when thou come in. Oh my goodness. And cursed shalt thou be when thou go out. And Yahweh shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, and all that thou set thy hand to do, until thou be destroyed. Men dying every day. Now we having men killing kids. Now we having men killing women. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. People are dying. No job security. After being there for 20 and 25 years, you walk in the door, they let you go. Or you walk to your door and they close. Every day somebody is dying. And I understand you said, well, people die every day. And until thou perish quickly because of the wickedness of thy doing, whereby thou hast forsaken me. So my thing is, stop blaming it on the enemy. Start blaming it on yourself. Start reevaluating yourself. Ask Yah, look in me. Point out in me, what am I doing? Help me to stop it. Once you point it out to me, help me to stop it. When you're falling on your face, when you're lying prostrate before him, instead of doing what Adam did when he did it to Eve. I'm not saying that the devil is innocent, but I'm saying stop blaming it on him. Look at yourself. Examine yourself. And that's the Passover. The leavened bread that's high-minded, he wants unleavened bread. He wants humble and meek. Search your soul. Reflect on the things that you were doing so that you can try to stop and address these negative things so that maybe Yah can have mercy on you. I thought I had one more scripture, but I don't think I wrote it down. That's crazy. I think I have it. I'm just going to keep on talking for a second and try to find that scripture because I know that this is something that could possibly be pretty cool for you too. This is the book of Judith. This is the book of Judith. This is Judith 14. Judith, Judith, Judith 14:6. And this is I'm just going to read these 5 verses. But the one okay. Let me see. It says, then they called Asher out of the house of Uzziah. And when he was come and saw the head of Olophanes, a man's hand in the assembly of the people, he fell down on his face and his spirit failed because he saw that his king was dead. But when they had recovered him, he fell at Judah's feet. No, I don't think that's the one. Is that the one? Reverence her and said, blessed art thou in all thy tabernacles of Judah and in all nations, which hearing thy name shall be accepted. Therefore tell me all the things that thou hast done. Nah, I don't think this is the one. Because it was something that Judith said that I thought was pretty good for what my point is trying to be. But I can't find it. I didn't even write it down. Man, I can't stand when that happens to me. All right, but anyway, I'm not going to hold you much longer. I just want to point out that this is just a reminder that this podcast is also on Spotify and Instagram, and that I'm on YouTube Live as well. So don't forget to like my page and to share my page where it applies. And don't forget to hit the notification button. And don't forget to subscribe as well. Hope you guys have a blessed day with a lot of peace. Shalom.